What's up, everybody? Welcome to Week in Review, episode number 30. My name is Sean, and on this week's show, we are going to talk about two movies, a game, and we'll look forward to this week's new releases. This week's game is Madden NFL 19's Long Shot Mode, the sequel to regular Long Shot Mode. This particular one is called Long Shot Homecoming. It's a sequel to, again, regular Long Shot, which I talked about on this show back in February, I believe. And it's really bad. It's start to finish bad, and that's really unfortunate to say, because I think that the first Long Shot Mode is good. It's a little, kind of generic and cliche as far as, sports comeback underdog stories are concerned, but I thought it had enough heart and interesting characters to really push it above, mediocre. Okay, I thought it was good. I thought it's something different for the Madden franchise, and I was excited to see if they would do it again, and they did, even though they didn't talk about it at E3. It's back. And now that I've played it, I kind of understand why it wasn't at E3, because it's awful. During the first Long Shot Mode, I didn't really look at my phone. I was pretty engaged with it throughout the whole runtime of it. I think it's about 3 hours. I think this one's about 3 hours as well. So between the two, 6 hours of content. 3 of them are good, 3 of them not so great. But I looked at my phone a lot during this because I was really bored and annoyed. And I think the first misstep they make is they take away the dialogue decisions that they had in the first go around, and that loses some agency in your story. You're kind of just listening to them tell the story that they want to tell, and you don't ever react, and that makes it kind of dull. And that wouldn't necessarily stand out if the story was good, but unfortunately the story is bad. It focuses this time on Colt, the wide receiver from the first game. The last one focused more on Devin and his comeback as a quarterback. And Colt, unfortunately, really early on in this game, gets thrown into an unfortunate situation that his dad, who just randomly shows up in a back alley, that's not a joke, that really happens, throws his Colt's stepsister on him and is like, hey, now you have to take care of her. And so all of a sudden everyone's because what happens at the end, to connect the two, it shows a brief between this time and next time sort of thing, a recap. That's what I'm looking for. Good lord. It shows a recap of what happened. Turns out both Colt and Devin get cut from the NFL. The hurricane that hit last year affected the town that they live in, because they live in Texas. Being that Colt and Devin both get cut from the NFL, it starts to look like maybe he should just give up on his NFL dream. And that's what every single person thinks Colt should do, is oh, just give up. You have your stepsister and you can come here and coach. And it was only a year. Are people really expecting him to quit that sort of thing? So then basically it leads to people thinking that Colt is making selfish decisions, even though he's not making selfish decisions, because he's in a situation that he didn't choose. He just got thrown into this whole thing, and all of a sudden people are well, now you just have to coach, and you can just give up on the NFL. And it's that doesn't make any sense. Characters kind of just come and go into this thing, and they have changes of heart that only work because, they don't even work. They only have changes of heart to push the plot forward, which means that everything rings super hollow and false, and none of it works, none of it's interesting, none of it is good. It's a series of missteps that lead to such a poor final story, even though it's a really bad package as a whole, the Long Shot Homecoming mode. Fortunately, it is only 3 hours long, so if you're looking for achievements, they're really easy, so it's not too much of a time suck. If you're not into that sort of thing and you're just looking for something interesting and different to play, avoid this at all costs. It's really, really bad. I really just wanted it to end, and 3 hours in this was terribly, terribly too long. Fortunately, the movie side fared much better this week, and both of the movies that I'm going to talk about this week, I used the AMC A-List membership, whatever it's called. The AMC Movie Pass essentially is what it is, and it's $20 a month, so you can see up to 3 movies a week. And so I paid $22, and then one of the movies I went and saw was $13, and the other movie I went and saw was $11, I think. 10, 11, somewhere in there. So if you take those and you take 13 and 10, 23, I'm already $1 ahead. So it's a good deal for me, and hopefully we'll provide more content for the show moving forward. So could be up to 3 movies a week. It won't be that. Don't get your hopes up or anything, but could be. First movie we're going to talk about this week is 8th Grade. A grade that I really hated in real life, but worked pretty well in movie form. Actually, it worked really, really well in movie form. I thought this was an absolutely fantastic movie. I thought it got off to like kind of a weird start, but as the movie progressed, I not only liked the movie more as it went on, but I also understood why the first part of it is the way it is, and I liked that the way it opened, it made more sense as the movie progresses. I think this is a movie that has fantastic performances across the board. I think it's heartfelt and very funny, sweet, and I think it's absolutely a movie that you should go and seek out. I think it nails how big, seemingly small things can seem, especially at that age. There's a sequence where she's at a pool party, and the idea of getting in the pool and being around all these people seems like pretty daunting to her because she's not super outgoing. Like, she's pretty shy and keeps to herself. And the way he uses a music cue, which is like a big like orchestral score that ramps up and feels very intense, and it conveys like how something that kind of like small and insignificant to other people that can feel so monstrously big to another person. I really, that scene really, really stuck out to me. This is absolutely one of the best movies I've seen this year. With this movie and the next movie we'll talk about here in a minute, I feel like I have like a solid like top 10 list of 10 fantastic movies that I've seen this year that I think you should probably go seek out. Obviously, you'll have to come back later to figure out exactly where they slot as far as numbers are concerned, but this is definitely one of the best movies of the year. I thought this was a very effective piece of filmmaking, and I thought it did a great job of like, it instantly put me back in like 8th grade and reminded me of like why I hated 8th grade and why I can't stand the stupid book Johnny Tremaine. Oh, fuck you, Johnny Tremaine. Highly, highly recommend you go check this movie out. It's absolutely fantastic. The other movie this week is also one of the best movies I've seen this year, so good weekend for movies. The other movie I saw was BlacKkKlansman, and I thought that this was absolutely fantastic. This is a fantastic, fascinating, true story about Ron Stallworth, a black detective in Colorado Springs, who makes contact with and infiltrates the Ku Klux Klan, and it's absolutely fantastic. Even though I think it starts off just a little bit slow, I think it's necessary and very effective in setting up the setting, not only where they are geographically, but where things are culturally as well. This is another movie that's led by terrific lead performances, specifically John David Washington, Denzel Washington's son, and Adam Driver, who are fantastic in the lead roles as dual Ron Stallworth. I think this is a great mix of comedy, drama, suspense, thriller, sort of all kind of mixed in together. And what really stuck out to me after I was thinking about it some more was, once the stakes hit a certain point and once actions are put into place and real lives become in jeopardy, with the exception of one very hilarious sequence, all the comedy is pretty much cut out at that point, and it focuses on the dramatic aspects of this particular investigation and the lives that are in danger. And in doing that, all of the setups and payoffs feel that much better. The way it all ends feels good from a dramatic perspective, but it also ends with a very funny comedic moment as well. And it's so weird to say that about this particular movie. It's like, here's this very serious story about this terrible organization that sucks, and like, I'm laughing at it and there's jokes in there, and it just feels like a juxtaposition and a thing that shouldn't work, but it does. This is another movie that I think you should go seek out. I think it has a wider release than 8th Grade, which we talked about a minute ago, but I think you should go see it. I think it's really, really interesting. It's funny and dramatic and has great performances, and I was just fascinated and entertained and disgusted at certain parts because of the subject matter isn't super easy, but it's necessary and interesting, and I think I think this is just a great movie. Finally, we'll take a look at what's new this week. As far as the movie side is concerned of what's new this week, nothing on Blu-ray, nothing in theaters. That's super weird. And there were only 2 games that I thought were interesting. One of them is State of Mind, which is like a sci-fi game that looked pretty cool. It has an interesting art style. Story sounds kind of interesting as well. And The Walking Dead, Telltale's The Walking Dead, kicks off its final season with apparently a terrible achievement list that requires multiple playthroughs of the same episode, which kind of sucks. But I won't be talking about that until all all wrapped up, because I'm going to forget what happened and I don't really want to play the game multiple times. And gives me an opportunity to go back through and play the other 4 seasons and do like a whole big like retrospective. So look forward to that later this next year. Thank you so much for watching the show. As always, let me know down in the comments below what you're looking forward to this week and in the upcoming weeks. Maybe something I missed. Hit that subscribe button so you know when I post new videos. And always check back every Tuesday for more Week in Review. Bye.